Walk into almost any specialty cafe today, and you will find an unmistakable, vibrant green powder bursting onto the menu. Packaged in minimalist tins and poured over ice with oat milk, matcha feels like a distinctly modern invention, a perfect fit for a 21st century lifestyle driven by wellness trends and social media aesthetics. But that iced latte is actually the endpoint of a thousand-year-old story. Long before it was marketed by lifestyle brands, this exact plant matter was cultivated in ancient Chinese dynasties, strictly guarded within Zen monasteries, and consumed on feudal battlefields by samurai. To understand how a highly specialized ancient botanical preparation conquered the modern world, we have to trace its journey back to the beginning. The true geographic starting point for matcha is Tang Dynasty China, centuries before the first tea seeds ever crossed the ocean to Japan. At the time, tea merchants faced a practical problem, transporting fragile leaves across vast distances. To preserve their crop for trade, they steamed, salted, and compressed the leaves into dense, solid bricks. By the time of the Song Dynasty, around the 10th century, preparation evolved. Drinkers began breaking pieces off these bricks, stone grinding them into a fine dust, and whisking that powder directly into hot water. This early iteration of whisked tea quickly found a dedicated audience among scholars and Buddhist monks. They consumed the bitter brew for its chemical properties. It provided long-lasting energy while simultaneously keeping their minds entirely calm. While China eventually moved toward other styles of tea, the technique of whisking powdered leaves was preserved, ready for a culture that would center it within their own spiritual and social identity. The migration of the tea began in the late 12th century when a Zen monk named Aisai returned from a pilgrimage to China, bringing the first tea seeds back across the ocean to Japan. Those early seeds eventually found their way to Uji, a region south of Kyoto, where the distinct climate and soil conditions proved exceptionally welcoming to the tea bushes. Japanese Buddhist monks immediately integrated the whisked tea into their lifestyle. They relied on it as a tool to endure grueling, hours-long meditation sessions without losing focus. But that exact same mental clarity proved useful far beyond the monastery. The samurai class integrated the potent liquid into their pre-battle routines, using the sustained energy to sharpen their reflexes and maintain composure in combat. Driven by this adoption from both peaceful monks and violent warriors, Japanese tea masters elevated the act of drinking tea into a highly disciplined meditative art form known as chanuyu. They developed highly specialized tools for this ritual. The chasen, a delicate whisk carved from a single piece of bamboo, was engineered during this period and is the exact same instrument used by modern baristas. Over a few hundred years, Japan took a pragmatic Chinese transport method and evolved it into an elite tool for both military focus and spiritual discipline. There was, however, a lingering flaw. Because these early Japanese tea bushes were grown in direct, open sunlight, the resulting powder carried a harsh, sharply bitter taste. To solve this, tea farmers in the Uji region developed a precise agricultural innovation. Several weeks before the harvest, they began erecting massive canopies over the crops, completely shading the plants. Denied the sun, the tea plant goes into a defensive survival state, triggering a massive overproduction of chlorophyll to reach for any available light. As the plant struggles in the dark, a second chemical shift occurs. The leaves become flooded with amino acids. When those specific, shade-grown leaves are finally harvested and ground, the harsh astringency is gone. The chlorophyll provides an electric green color, and the dense amino acids produce a thick, deeply savory umami flavor. The modern matcha profile isn't a coincidence of nature. It is the direct result of centuries of precise human agricultural engineering. Despite reaching this agricultural peak, the tea remained restricted to the highest levels of Japanese society for centuries, a luxury of the ruling class and the monastic elite. It took the rapid modernization of Japan in the late 19th and 20th centuries to change that. As class structure shifted, the bright green tea transitioned from a guarded status symbol into a beverage enjoyed by the wider public. From there, the rise of international travel, the internet, and a global fixation on antioxidant health benefits pushed the tea far beyond Japan's borders. Stripped of its strict feudal restrictions, the ancient powder was finally positioned to reach a global market. Today, that reach extends from specialty coffee shop menus to baked goods and commercial skincare products. Yet beneath the modern marketing, the biological blueprint of the leaf and the physical mechanics of whisking it remain nearly identical to the practices established by ancient monks. Drinking it today connects the fast-paced modern world with a quiet, thousand-year-old tradition. Matcha has endured for a millennium because it represents a rare, unbroken balance: ancient ritual, exact botanical science, and a flavor profile that cannot be replicated.